DIYers, what's going on? Mike Borders with the Mike Borders channel. Thank you for watching. Hey, we're talking Chrysler Pacificas today, and in today's video, the proper and safe way on how to replace your auxiliary battery. And that's that small motorcycle size or jet ski size battery just to the left of your larger primary battery. Let's take a look. Alright DIYers, we're on the computer, and before we head out to the garage and replace our auxiliary battery, I wanted to show you an actual photo of our instrument cluster. And as you can see, not only is the check engine light illuminated, but just to the right of the word brake, you see that red dot, and that is illuminated and bright red. And if your engine is not starting and that red dot is illuminated, the most likely cause is a faulty auxiliary battery. However, that's not the only cause. We do have a common cause video, which is scrolling above right now. However, in this specific video, we are showing the step-by-step process on how to properly and safely replace your auxiliary battery. But, DIYers, if you are stranded and you are trying to start your engine and that red dot is illuminated, definitely check out that common cause video, because it's very possible that you have one of those common causes taking place at the current moment, and that video will hopefully get your engine started so you can get home safely, where you can then benefit from home court advantage, being at home where you can safely replace your auxiliary battery in a safe environment and at a time that works best for you. So again, definitely check out the common cause video, and if it turns out that you need to replace your auxiliary battery, come right back to this video and we'll help show you how to do that, again, properly and safely. From here, let's head out to the garage. Alright DIYers, inside the garage, and on the far end is our 2018 Chrysler Pacifica, and again in today's video, the replacement process of our auxiliary battery. And we've got a 1991 Chevy Cavalier Z24. In addition, upcoming projects on my wife's 1995 Sea-Doo XP. That'll be fun. However, let's go inside the vehicle and pop the hood. Here we are, driver's side coming in. And again, all we're going to do is pop the hood. In front of the vehicle and the front grille and the Chrysler emblem. And we are going to come up under, and this little lever right here, all you'll do is push it to the left. And by doing that, you can carefully raise your hood. And we are going to grab that support bar and secure it in its upper slot. Hood coming open, and again, this support bar right here will go right there. Carefully lower the weight of the hood where it can rest on that bar. Now directing our attention to the right side of the engine compartment or front portion if you're standing in front of it. And we've got a 10mm bolt right down there. This is the black negative. We are going to remove that and cut all electrical power to the entire system prior to moving forward. And you don't actually have to remove the nut completely, just enough to be able to loosen up this terminal and carefully pull it off. I might need both hands, or switch to my other one. And coming to the front side there makes it a little easier. Pull it up in an even manner. And from here, I recommend placing the connection point away from the negative terminal of the battery, just to ensure the connection point will not make contact with the terminal during the project. From here, this big plastic piece with the battery icon on it that feeds into this portion, we are going to carefully grab the left side and pull up. With the camera set back, you've got this little slot right here that a prong goes into a little compressed slot, and on the far opposite end, it feeds into the air box. And just grab a hold of this and pop it out, as shown here, as well as shift this portion outward away from the air box as you simultaneously pull this portion up as well. As shown there. Do your best not to break anything. Now to a top view and close-up view of both of our batteries, and the larger on the right-hand side is our primary battery, and to the left of that, the smaller, more motorcycle style or size auxiliary battery. And before we remove the negative and positive leads to the terminal on the auxiliary battery, let's go down below. You have a 10mm bolt that secures a bracket that ultimately secures the auxiliary battery in place. We are going to grab a ratchet and extender, as we just did, to remove that connection, and we are going to carefully remove that bolt. Do not drop it. And real quick, I do want to show you the size difference in the ratchet and socket extender that I'm going to be transitioning to. As you see on the left hand side, that's the one we just used to disconnect the primary negative, but the larger extension we will have down below in the comment section and description section. It definitely comes in handy at this stage of the project. With the camera in position, I'm going to carefully shift the wire harness over to the left or on top of the auxiliary battery, and carefully lower in the extender and 10mm socket, and carefully loosen it and unscrew it. And it's about 3 inches or so. Long bolt, don't drop it. And from here, I'm going to carefully remove the negative cable from the auxiliary battery and negative terminal. Don't drop that 10mm nut. And carefully pull off the negative cable, again from the auxiliary battery. Set that aside, and we will now transition to the positive. Shifted the camera over. I'm going to carefully shift this out of the way or to the right, and you have this rubber protector on the positive lead, and I'm going to carefully pull that up, and you can gain access to the 10mm nut that secures the red positive to the auxiliary terminal. Go ahead and remove that. And at this point, I'm going to shift this back over, and the red positive is secured underneath this actual mount or brace. And I'm going to carefully shift the wiring in a way where it's not going to be damaged, but I'm going to pull up the top brace in a way where I can then pull this up and remove it. As you see right there, set that aside. And as far as this wire harness, I am not going to disconnect it, but it does make it just a little bit trickier to pull the auxiliary battery out. I'm just going to shift this all the way out, and I'm going to scroll the camera out so you have a better view. And from here, just ever so carefully position everything in a way where you can pull out the battery. As you see, there is the cover, and I'm going to shift that back a little bit and out of the way. As you see right there, let me give you a better view of what I just did. Again, the entire top harness is shifted out of the way, and from here, again, move everything in a way where you can carefully pull up the auxiliary battery without damaging anything. And be advised, it is heavy. And you can carefully push the surrounding padding away. Try not to rip it or damage it. And the easiest way to do this is just kind of shift the battery upright and more on its side and pull it out. And this harness really makes it tricky, but I think I can do it without disconnecting it. Take a step back, and there it is. The needing to be replaced auxiliary battery. And again, much smaller than our primary large battery. Here's a close-up view of where the auxiliary battery goes. You can see AUX down below. And from here, we actually need to remove both the positive and negative leads here because you don't get new ones with the new battery. All right, DIYers, what I did next was I went and grabbed my torque socket set, and down below in the comment section as well as the description section will be a link on where to purchase this set. Definitely good to have. In our case, we actually have to remove each of these, as I just mentioned, and they are an E5 or torque 5-bit. And you can tell just the difference in shape of the socket. More of a star pattern, as shown there. And for the E5, I've got my 1/4-inch Craftsman ratchet, and again, just be very careful. Seat it all the way into the socket itself, and carefully counterclockwise turn, and break it free. And once you break it free, you should be able to loosen it and remove it by hand. Do not drop this inside the engine. That would not be good. And they're about 1.5 inches-ish, maybe just under. Now to the positive. Back to a top view or close-up view of the auxiliary battery, and it is now time to pack this inside a different vehicle and drive to my local dealership and give them this as a core and buy our brand new auxiliary battery. All right, DIYers, we're at the workstation and the workbench on the other side of the jet ski. This is my mom and dad's 2003 Sea-Doo GTX, and if you're wondering if we love jet skis, we do. And I just got back from the dealership. Let's out to the workbench. Making our way around the jet ski. Busy projects here. There's a 96 dyno Air. And again, rebuilding jet skis, boats, etc. Here is the OEM battery. Again, auxiliary. There's the information. I will post links down below on where to purchase this. I'll give you a couple different options. And again, the leads we have to install. And blue is negative, red is positive. With the camera positioned, again, just these little caps, I'm going to remove the blue and the red, set those aside. And I'm going to put the exact same lead in the exact same side it came out of. In this case, this one went into the negative. And hand tighten them for starters. And do not cross thread them into the terminals. That would not be good. Transitioning back to my 1/4 inch ratchet and the E5. And do not over tighten them, but you want them snug. So again, don't over tighten them, but you want them snug. Time to head back out to the Pacifica and get this battery installed. However, before we go back out to the vehicle and get this new battery installed, when I went to the dealership, I did take my old battery and I gave it to them because they needed a core or they were going to charge me $50. In our case, we did not need our old battery. And what they do with the old cores is they break them down, drain them, and dispose of them responsibly so they don't end up in the garbage or landfills where they become extremely unenvironmentally friendly if not disposed properly. Back out to our Pacifica, and again, there's the brand new battery. Reverse the steps. Time to carefully lower the battery in place and rest it in position. With the battery now resting in place, I am going to secure the red positive back onto the lead before I actually lift the entire upper harness and secure it. Because again, this part goes underneath the actual harness. As you see right there. And again, make sure it is flush and all the way down. And from here, I'll grab the 10mm nut and without dropping it or cross threading it, secure it and tighten it in place. Do not over tighten it. And I'll scroll in. And again, straighten out the harness as shown here and tighten it in place. Followed by carefully re-securing the top rubber boot or protector. And from here, I need to carefully shift the top brace back over the battery and into place without damaging, again, anything in the process. And I'll scroll out. And I'll bring all this underneath. Not the easiest thing to do in the world, but just be patient, be precise, do not break anything. As you see right there. This section of the top harness should rest perfectly in this little gap or slot of the battery. And then we'll go down below and secure that long bolt into the bottom insert to again secure this top brace. And a quick reposition of the camera, again, that bottom portion right there or insert where we will then lower the long bolt into and secure the battery in place with the mount or brace. And get a good feel for the thread, hand tighten it first, do not cross thread it as always, that would not be good. Followed by the long extension and 10mm socket. And at the very end, just make sure that this bottom portion here is properly placed between the side rails here on either side. And just like everything else, do not over tighten this. That would not be good. Another quick reposition of the camera, I'm going to grab the negative cable and re-secure it onto the lead. And it might spark, that's normal as you see, and secure it with the 10mm nut. From here, I'm going to shift this wire harness back into place and rest it where it was before, where it's not bound up or being tugged or pulled in any manner. Taking a step back, double check everything before we install that large plastic cover that secures itself inside the air box. Again, just double check everything, make sure everything is properly installed and tight. With the camera set back, and the biggest thing with this part is just carefully align it inside the airbox hole, and as you shift this part down and into place, do not harm the foam seal here. as you see there, and align the prongs with their respective holes or inserts and secure it in place. You have one on each side. Now to a close-up view of the negative terminal of our main primary or larger battery, and pull up the connection, re-secure it, and lower it onto the terminal and secure the 10mm nut. And that is on there and firmly secured. Taking a step back in DIYers at this point, just double check you are not leaving any tools or anything inside the engine compartment, and nothing is loose, everything is re-secured. From here, we're going to hop inside the vehicle and start the engine and see if that resolved all the issues. All right, DIYers, we are inside the vehicle, and I'm going to push on the brake and push the start stop push button. And again, we had this little red dot right here in the check engine light, and the engine would not start. And our hood is open, we do know that, and the red dot is gone, and I'm going to go out and actually look at the engine and see how everything is working. Back up to the engine. Everything is operating as designed. Alright, DIYers, I closed the hood and got back inside the vehicle, and the check engine light was on for about 3 to 4 minutes. And my guess is the new battery was ever so slightly below 12 volts or full charge, and once installed and connected to the electrical system, it took a few minutes to fully charge and re-communicate with all the components within the electrical system, and at that point the check engine light turned off. And DIYers, that is it. Do us a favor, below the video you will see that thumbs up icon. Click on that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, definitely ring your YouTube bell. That would be very helpful to us. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching. And also down below will be several helpful links on this issue. Again, the check engine light, the red dot, or in the event that you're in a parking lot and your brakes are locked up but the engine is running and you're trying to put it in drive and get moving and get home, or go do whatever you need to do, definitely check out the video link down below. We will cover the common causes and what to do to hopefully get out of locked brakes so you can get on the move and get home safe. Thanks again for watching.